But this person went ahead and married the person anyway. So what I'm saying is you don't get to be pissed off later on if you get sick and he abandoned you because he told you that on the front end. These are the conversations we really, really need to have because these are real life situations. And you got to be honest about them. As difficult as they are, we do because we're getting older and stuff happens. But that's why you got to be in touch with your needs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, that's really good that you deal with some extreme cases. But even though they're extreme, they are real life situations that I think that we must go through. Right. But kind of getting back to this, because again, I think we all on some levels agree that at least the starting point for tonight is we want everybody to really understand that you got to stop focusing on the paper. You got to focus on the preparation, what was going on before you got there, right? Because if you're the person that didn't voice your concern about the tight pants and the short skirt or the tight dress, right? Or the hanging out all night with the boys or smoking cigars in the house or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You got your muddy work boots. I don't know, whatever that thing is. Beforehand, why are you going to say, well, we're not married, I'm not going to say anything? Because to me, I believe that really is almost lying. It's being deceitful because you are hiding something that clearly could be a deal breaker. I want to take a shift real quick, guys. I want to read some of the responses. And Mario, while I'm reading these responses, can you check out our comments? I just want to share with our viewers what some of the people said in response to the post that I mentioned at the top of the hour.
Absolutely.
There was a man named Jeffrey says, why, yes. And this is in response to being willing to do a life partnership. He says, if we are truly connected and in love, the commitment is already in place. Marriage is no guarantee to love or happiness. A non-married committed couple can and have just as much chance to forever love as married folk. Marriage does not equal love. Who said, no. A, I'm not trying to be someone's girlfriend for the rest of my life. And B, if a man expects me to function in a wife's role, then I deserve for him to make me just that. Let me see. Trying to get some good ones because it's a bunch of them. Okay, another person, a woman, says, what is a life partnership? Is that just living together? No serious commitment? Nobody has to step up and act legit? No, thank you. If a man wants me to play wifey, he should value me enough to wife me. So that's interesting. So let's do this first. Let's talk about that. What is a life partnership? Because remember, we haven't defined it tonight. I mean, you and I have, I think, different views of what life partnership is.
Yeah.
Besides that, we gonna stay away from the historical context where the term came from, all that. We get that. But in the context of tonight, I'm gonna let you go first, Mario. See, Mario, a life coach, y'all. He helped y'all with these type of challenges. But your definition of a life partnership, Mario, is what?
Marriage. It's marriage. See, to me, the terms are interchangeable because you say, you're my life partner. I'm going to marry you until death do us part. That's a life partnership to me. I think we're playing semantics. And I would ask the question, if you're going to behave like traditionally married people, what's the issue? I don't get the issue. Because again, it's the same thing. You're going to have the same expectation. See, I guess if the expectations were different and the behaviors were different, I probably could apply some understanding. But I don't understand that. If you're going to expect me to take the trash out, pay the bills, or whatever we're going to do that we would do in a regular marriage, how does the life partnership change our behavior and interaction? Because
Mario, now some people expect that whether you life partner, some people expect that on week 5.
But that's okay. That's okay if you expect that because that's real. You see what I'm saying? Tell me that up front. I expect you to take the trash out. But I'm saying, if I say, well, I want to get married to you, and you say to me, well, I don't want to do no paper. I don't want no paper. but we can live together as life partners. What are you talking about to me then? What are you saying? What is it that you are avoiding that you're saying to me, I want you here. I expect you to be honest, faithful. We're going to join our monies together or whatever we're going to do, but we're going to conduct ourselves as married people, but we just won't have no paper. And what happens if something happens? How does that look? How does that really look? Does that mean that we carry in the back of our mind that I can walk away at any given point? Is that just a disguised or masquerade that we're playing to say that, well, we ain't married. So in case I want to do something, I can always remind you, I ain't married to you. So I don't understand it. I'm at a loss today. Really, I don't have an understanding about this because I cannot wrap my mind. And I think I'm a pretty smart guy in most cases, but I can't wrap my mind around this, how this changes, unless someone can tell me the behavioral changes and the behavioral expectations. That's all I need to know. What are your expectations?
Well, I get it, and so for me, when I think about what is a life partnership, I do think about, for those of us that grew up in the South, Mario, I know you did too, and you probably know plenty of people that are like this. Mm-hmm. You didn't know until great granddaddy died that he wasn't really married legally to great grandmama. Now, of course, when we talking that many generations back, you had common law, you had all this stuff, right? And I get that. But what I'm saying is they still were together 50 years, right? They just never made it to the courthouse or whatever. The preacher didn't come by after church and do the ceremony, whatever it is, right? And so when I think about when I think about a life partnership, it's not in any way to say, well, I can just walk away from this. Quite frankly, with a marriage, you can do that too. People walk away from their marriage and go set up another family and all sorts of stuff. So I don't think that keeps people from doing that. And I don't think that people that don't do it necessarily lie in wait for that opportunity to jump on the next person, because I think a person being married to do that too. Right. For me, a life partnership means that you have made a choice that this is who I'm going to be with. Whatever definition, whatever parameters we put on our relationship, whether that's moving in together. Some people don't do that, right? Whether that's having children together, commingling funds, all of these sorts of things. To me, that's up to the two individuals to decide. Some people will just say, you know what? I just, honestly, man, I just don't want to be married, right? And that's okay as long as two people don't want to be married and they want to be together and say, well, this is what I just want to be. Let's just do this for the rest of our life. Let's, this is what we gonna do. I personally don't see anything wrong with that in general, if that's what people decide that they want to do. Now we can talk. I ain't looked at the comments. So for those of you, the scriptures that you're sending me, I get it, right? I know they out there. I ain't gotta look. And I'm not discounting that, right? I'm not discounting that, but what I'm saying is, in general, for purposes of this conversation, to me, a life partnership is two people coming together, saying we gonna commit to each other for life. These are the parameters of our relationship, and we gonna move forward into this such.
I think, and I agree with that to a certain degree. And Keith Common says, "Is marriage not simply a forever commitment before God? Does the paper need to be present to define the agreement as marriage?" Well, we have to. I think that we are. We live in the United States, and we're governed by law. So I think that's where we are getting our foundation from. Now we can turn and do what we want to do as individuals and choose whatever lifestyle you choose to live in. But I think what I have observed is that when that happens, it is 9 times out of 10 when something is going down, the subject of are we really married is really critical. Are we really married? Because to me, it's been my observation that people keep that in the back of their mind. I don't care who it is. They keep it in the back of their mind that when they're tired of this, I'm not married to you. If a person dies, you also got a created problem because they were like, well, they were never married. And they ain't got to be old to die. We need to get that in mind too. They ain't got to be old to die. But it creates this problem because you've lived together. And I'm not saying that people can't leave regular marriages, but it seems that the argument is centered around a piece of paper and a wedding ceremony. So at the end of the day, there are still parameters set in the laws concerning how long you live together and all that kind of stuff. Well, I don't really want to get into it. You can do that if you want to. But I think that people have to be able to say what works for them, and that's fine. But I think at some point you also need to be prepared, if you make that decision, to recognize the fact that you're also going to expect the person to act like your wife, him to act like your husband, but y'all just didn't get the paper. So our human side is always going to remember that in an argument when things get down to possessions, and you're going to remember, but we ain't got no paper. You know why? Because we've been conditioned to do things in order.
But you know what, Mario? I think that people had that expectation anyway, even before they get married. I mean, let's be realistic. Okay, we ain't gonna get philosophical, but do you really have to be faithful to somebody that you just going with?
There is an expectation.
It's an expectation, but what I'm saying, right? That's the point. It's still an expectation whether you married or not. If you going with somebody, you expect for them to be faithful. You expect for them to treat you a certain way. You expect certain things in that relationship. You're gonna expect that anyway.
Well, you may expect it, but again, because you're not married, everybody knows that because we're not married, the possibility is greater and there is some leeway there. But once you get married and you make that commitment, there is a solemn expectation in every person that we have said we're off the market. That isn't supposed to happen. That's just the way it is. I mean, when you date somebody and you have not exclusively said, listen, we are married in a relationship, everybody holds that in the back of their mind. We ain't married. We are not married. So you don't expect me to behave a certain way because you ain't my wife. I ain't got to look out for you like that. That's what we do. Women will, at the opportune moment now, it will come up, but you ain't my husband. When she get tired of washing clothes, she'll remind you, I'm not your wife.
Yeah, but then if they get married and she gets tired of washing clothes, she'll say I ain't your slave. What I'm saying is we can talk about that. We can talk about that part. But I think that on a fundamental side, I think that in essence, what it boils down to is people are going to do what they want to do. But I saw an interesting comment. Oh gosh, where is it? Bernadette Askew says, my view on life partnership is just that doing everything you can to make the business run smoothly. I'm sorry, Bernadette made me laugh. I think that this is one of those topics that there really isn't an answer for, because everybody's going to feel strongly all over the place. I do want to give just a few more of these comments, Mario, while you're checking out the comments, guys. In the comment section, guys, let us know what you guys think, like for real. Let us know, because we want to have an open discussion. You see, clearly we don't necessarily agree on all points, which I think is it ain't common that we disagree like this, but I think that we do have some fundamental differences of opinion. But in the post, so back to the post, it says marriage is about protection. It is a legal means for me to protect my spouse, and he can protect me. If we are building a life together, that means that we are building and sharing resources. So in the event that one of us gets ill, that person that I've been sharing my life with is the one that I want to make decisions for me. In the event that I die, the person I have been building a life with, I want them to be protected and not have family come in. And because we're not married, the surviving partner is not legally entitled to what we have built together. Now that's interesting right there.
That's very powerful. That's very, very powerful. And that's what I'm saying is that, we can go, someone said something about, in the beginning, they were looking at marriage, Genesis and the marriage, the beginning or whatever, and that the doctrine had no papers. And we're clear about that. We're not even arguing about historical marriage. We're talking about where we are right now. And we're talking about the mentality that we share concerning this issue. We don't do a whole lot of stuff that was in the Old Testament. We don't do a lot of stuff that in the New Testament, for that matter. But we also have to use some common sense